Hello and welcome back to Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds Part 16. In this episode we are entering Desert Palace, which has replaced Misery Mire. Yes, Misery Mire is not a dungeon in Link Between Worlds. I don't exactly know why. I mean, our boss fight still takes place in Misery Mire, but that's a spoiler for a little bit later on in the dungeon. We will be going most of the way through Desert Palace in this part, which is good, but there's not really a lot to say. This dungeon heavily forces you to actually have the Sand Rod, which is why you need to do Thieves Town first so that you can access all of the dungeons in the game.
Right, and let me just say
that we have returning enemies like Gibdos.
That in lieu of repeating Misery Mire, I mean they've been very good at not really repeating all that much, except maybe the overworld layout. This is a brand new spanking dungeon. There is no comparison between this and the original Desert Palace or Misery Mire, because we have magical sand walls.
Although that's true, I kind of disagree with that. This does end up feeling thematically a lot like Desert Palace does. I will say that mechanically it is vastly different than Desert Palace, specifically due to the fact that it's so item dependent. But Desert Palace itself wasn't allowed to be item dependent because it happened so early on in the game.
Right, at a time when you did not have a lot of items to help you problem solve by using all kinds of cleverness and well-pixeled illustrated items.
Right. And up. You don't need to kill all the enemies in this room, although you should anyway because of rupees. And it will make traversing the statues throughout the room slightly easier. Only slightly, though.
Push the gargoyle. Make him laugh. God damn it. Oh, that was easy.
Yeah, thankfully the 2.5D perspective still makes it so that you can interact with the floors below you instead of the floors above you. The fire, ice, and sand rods specifically interact that way, as well as do bombs. It's very nice for them.
This game is way more 3D than than the original Link to the Past ever was. On the subject of rebooted Legend of Zelda games, I finally saw the trailer for the new Link's Awakening coming out.
Which unfortunately doesn't look nearly as changed as it should have been.
Doesn't look nearly as changed. I mean, Gerda, for God's sake, it looks like they had animated like live action, like stop motion dolls and shit. It looks really cool. Like Yoshi's Story or some shit.
The chibi art style, I will admit, is interesting, but it's not nearly as effective as the Wind Waker chibi style was when we had that going for us.
But Gerda, everybody hated the Wind Waker chibi style at first.
Which is weird because it still looks really really nice today. I don't understand why people dislike the chibi style from Wind Waker because it actually still works today for the most part.
Right, after some time had passed. However, in context, everybody, for those of us who need a bone up on our Zelda history, everybody was disappointed by Wind Waker because not a long time before Wind Waker came out, Nintendo was leaking screenshots of a much better looking Ocarina of Time like Legend of Zelda, where you saw Ganondorf, all his pixels look really cool, and everything just looked great. And then when Wind Waker was announced and later came out, they appeared to have thrown all of that out the window in order to fuck with you.
Yeah, but they hadn't thrown it all out the window. Those assets just ended up getting reused and remodeled for Twilight Princess.
For Twilight Princess, and I'm glad that Aaron from Game Grumps was able to explain to me, because I had no idea that Twilight Princess was Nintendo's apology for not just coming out with a Twilight Princess game after Ocarina of Time.
I personally don't like. Well, honestly, I've only played Twilight Princess all the way through once, and I'm not ever actually playing Wind Waker all the way through. So I'm not entirely sure where I would stand between the two. I think personally, though, that given how my peers have reacted to Wind Waker, that I would actually enjoy Wind Waker slightly more than Twilight Princess.
And I think that they would be right. In my opinion, I think Wind Waker is the superior game. Twilight Princess is a good game in its own right, but I did have a lot of problems with oh, I don't know, the situationalness of the items that you use, the linear structure, the kind of limited scope of things that you get to do throughout the game versus Wind Waker, where you have, like, an entire fucking map and then some, and you get to go fishing for treasure.
But let's be real, the fishing for treasure and sailing around was Wind Waker's weakest element.
No, I liked how interested the King of Red Lions looked whenever, you know, Link was deploying the fishing rod from his ass, and then saying, "Get it, Link. Use the ass crane in order to get your treasure. Only the most worthy can claim it."
This is actually a really good visual spectacle right there. And we get the Titan's Mint, which is not an optional treasure. You are required to get the Titan's Mint in order to beat the game.
Yes.
Mostly because it's required in order to finish this dungeon.
Oh, Mr. Hero, I see you got the Titan's Mint.
Who have you been talking to?
What are you talking about? I enjoy competition.
I must kill all of my competitors.
Unfortunately, whilst we were over here the first time, we forgot to hit the button that makes it so that we don't have to do this loop around. So now we have to go hit the button using the loop around again.
I'm mostly just taking your word for it at this point, because there's a lot of shit happening in quick succession.
Yeah. I do play through the game slightly faster than is probably comfortable for most people. But yes, whereas in Link to the Past you could lift that up using just the Power Glove, now you need the Titan's Glove in order to lift up these the Titan's Mitt in order to lift up the large rocks. And they almost never have anything.
No longer will we be slowed down by that one boulder in Hyrule Field that you could always just use the wall exploit around, but nay, we are going to lift the impediment from the ground and come crashing, crumbling down to the earth. And just like in the actual Desert Palace level, we have to do a portion of it outside in order to find the correct dungeon area.
Well, we don't have to. Well, it's not really a portion, you know. We just go into the next entrance.
They did a similar thing in the Spirit Temple in Ocarina of Time, another sand-themed level, where you... who's there?
Now, for the record, you can also slash the tiles as they're flying at you, but I'm not skilled enough at timing in order for that to work for me. And you have to wait until they're actually flying at you.
So
we spin right round this pillar, right round for the tiles like as they're flying at your face, Link.
Unbury the larva. Send them into the chasm below. It worked. Congratulations, young sand champion. We will call you the Sandpian.
I personally would prefer a Desert Hero over Sandpian.
He's a desert hero, the sand in his
on
eyes.
his side.
There's sand in his eyes. I'm a sandbox hero.
Got swords on my side.
He's a sandbox hero. Oh, you're the nice gargoyle.
He's kind of a nice gargoyle. What we have to do for this one is actually push him into the pit. Or we can, drag him over this way.
Okay, now
the reason why we need to do that is so that we actually have access to this particular treasure chest. Ta-da!
Woo. You got a key.
What? Curses.
They won't let us in.
Wait, who's doing that?
What do you mean?
What? Why does the switch keep alternating? How is that happening?
You see those crossbow traps?
The crossbow trap is hitting the switch, you're saying?
Yep.
Oh. Well then. Oh, I love unburying treasure. That is really cool. See, in lieu of a shovel, Link will just force the fucking earth to cough up whatever it's holding.
I am Link, Master Earthbender.
Now we're gonna be digging up mummies! Make zombies and shit!
No, we already went through Amonkhet.
See, I would like to see a Gibdo that is, like, buried in the sand, and then he gets flopped on his back like, I don't want to get him buried, leave me alone!
To be perfectly honest, that's probably one of the traps in the 3DS game that I never played.
Holy Jesus, we have returned to the ball traps of doom.
Yes, and you do have to actually solve this one, these two. And yes, this is two separate puzzles.
Smash the block.
Nope.
What? Ha! It gets stuck. So yes, there you go.
There you go.
Just in time. Jesus Christ. Look out, Link, it's coming right for you.
Nice. Nice.
I have a strong feeling that we're being chased by a boulder right now.
Yay! We have successfully flooded the previous room with sand.
See, if sand actually flowed like water, that would happen. It's just a river of sand.
Need to get over there. I believe that this is the optional treasure chest. Yes, this is the optional one, I think. Nope, this is the big key. Okay, the optional one for this dungeon is, I'm pretty sure it's another piece of master ore. I think it's another piece of master ore. Every dungeon has got, an optional treasure in it. For this palace, I think it's another piece of master ore. For Thieves Town, it was a piece of master ore. For Ice Palace, which we'll be getting to later, it's actually the stamina scroll. You don't actually need the stamina scroll to finish that dungeon. It's kind of weird. For Dark Palace, it's another piece of master ore. That puzzle is really annoying to me. For Turtle Rock, it's actually the Hylian Shield. That's the optional treasure. And the trying to think, Skull Woods is another piece of master ore. Yes, there are 4 pieces of master ore in the game, and they are optional because you never need to upgrade out of the master sword.
Yeah, all of the Legend of Zelda games had allowed you to upgrade your main weapon more than you needed to. Link's Awakening actually is probably the only game where you don't actually get the Master Sword. You get the Dream Sword or something.
No, because if you recall, Minish Cap focuses on us having the Force Sword for the entire game, and although we restore the Force Sword to its full power, it's never actually referred to as the Master Sword.
Not the Master Sword.
Yeah, because after we imbuing it with 2 elements, it becomes the 2 sword, 3 becomes the 3 sword, and then 4 is finally the 4 sword.
So we at Sword Makers Incorporated encourage our customers to use our swords according to their intended functions. You see, the Master Sword is the sword of evil's bane, and that's why it's not used on Vaati, because Vaati's not necessarily evil, he's just a dickhead. So we had specifically designed the Force Sword in order to deal with dickheads, exploiting them and making them cry.
An interesting marketing ploy, but I'm not sure I'd buy it, because Vaati ends up getting, tampered with by Twinrova, doesn't he?
I can't remember that part, actually. Or did Vaati also become just another medium for Ganon, just like every other main villain character?
As far as I know, unless it happens in Four Swords Adventures, Vaati remains his own villain throughout. Now, whatever happened to this to the villains of the Sage games?
Well, I mean, they die. Their purpose was to complete the It's kind of like what Vadi was doing in Four Swords Adventure. He was getting the babes, and he was ruining the day by doing a ritual that was going to revive Ganon. Just like Varan and Onyx were doing in the Oracle games, their mission was to spread destruction, despair, and the third thing in order to complete the ritual of revival.
I think the third thing was technically sadness.
No, that's despair. It's despair, destruction. I'm pretty sure they're all D words. Despair, destruction, and...
Well, the common triplet there would be dismay, but...
Disturbance. Anger. Maybe, or unless it's maybe not a D word.
It could be not a D word.
Just like the keys in this dungeon, we are unlocking the keys in our own minds to locate the memory that will answer this very important question. What was the third D word from the Oracle games?
It probably was not Doom.
That's a good one, though. It's not dread. Daring, no. Disgust, no. Bombs, no. Pop, no. Stupid living bombs.
Is that bomb close enough? Yay, it is! And this is why you don't ever need to actually get your own bombs, although I still recommend buying bombs early on so that you can do a bomb-based overworld exploration.
Oh, dude, totally. Like, unlimited bombs, all you have to do is just wait 10 seconds for your meter to recharge. Sign me up. And I might have mentioned it in previous parts that was the main reason why I kind of fell out of use with bombs, is because there was always a finite supply, and it always sucked to run out of them, so why deplete it?
Specifically,
except when absolutely necessary.
Length of the Past forcing you to start with 10 bombs is actually one of the big problems with routing, because not only do you not actually start with 10 bombs, but actually acquiring your first 10 bombs is a major hurdle. After you get your first bomb upgrade, bombs are no longer an issue. But until you get your first bomb upgrade, bombs and Link to the Past are a very precious resource.
I think that the third D word is darkness.
Possibly. I mean, it doesn't make all that much sense given what the other two symbolize, but oh well. In the next episode, we will fight the boss of Desert Palace and Misery Mire.